Barca to sack Koeman, James in Everton exit, Napoli join the league club, and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich. You are the OneFootballers and this is the Daily News. First up, and last night things didn't go better for Ronaldo Koeman and Barcelona. So much so that there are now reports coming out of Barcelona that the club are ready to sack him as soon as they find a new replacement. According to Catalan-based journalist Gerard Romero, there are 4 names on this list, and let's take a look at them. First off, and there's Xavi Hernandez, because this is the obvious one. There's been so many rumours that he's eventually going to come back and take over at the club, and I've no doubt that it will be happening, but I'm not so sure he particularly wants it to be pushed as far forward as well, maybe in the next few weeks, and to leave Qatar. Aside from this, there's Andrea Pirlo, and if you look at his first season at Juventus, that was absolutely tragic. There's no way if Barca are going down the amazing ex-player but not so experienced coach route, they're going to be picking Pirlo ahead of Xavi. In fact, Xavi has got managerial experience as well. Alongside this, there's also Antonio Conte, who I think will be an excellent fit. He's a big name, he's a fantastic manager, and he'll have the respect of the dressing room. The only problem is that I'm not so sure Conte's style of play necessarily suits Barcelona. This season, when Ronald Koeman's often switched to 3 or 5 at the back, depending on which way you see it, well, it's been met with a little bit of negativity, let's say, from the board, especially after that loss to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. The club clearly wants to stick with a 4-3-3, and if Antonio Conte is not going to do that, it doesn't really make sense to bring him in the first place. And the last person on this list, apparently, is Philippe Cocu. Great player, former Barcelona player who played over 200 games for them. Not such a great manager. Did well at PSV, had that little spell at Fenerbahce, did terrible with Derby in the Championship, the second division in England. So I can't exactly see why his recent credentials would lend him to the Barcelona job. Out of all the people on those lists, surely it's got to be Xavi's time. Anyway, last night, the reason why it went so bad is because they put on a terrible home performance against Granada. Nothing to say about their opposition, but at home, Barcelona should be winning most games throughout the league campaign. Anyway, they were 1-0 down after less than 2 minutes, and only a Ronaldo Araujo header in the last minute saved the despair and managed to get them a point. It now leaves them 7th in La Liga with just 8 points from a possible 12. And Ronald Koeman surely must know now that he is on very, very thin ice. So moving on then, and to a big transfer out of the Premier League, and that is James Rodríguez, just a year after he joined Everton. Apparently the Colombian international is in Qatar to sign with an unnamed club as of yet, and they'll be taking on his massive £200,000 per week. Now, you'd think that with all of his quality, there would be some way that Rafa Benitez could get him into the team, could figure things out with him, and basically get to see the star that we all saw those years ago. But it just doesn't look like it's happening. I think there's something with James where his head's just not quite there at the highest level of the professional game. Because surely, if you look at his record even from last season, it was 26 appearances, 6 goals and 9 assists. For an attacking midfielder, that's not bad. Those are pretty decent numbers, especially for your first season in the Premier League. So why is it he just can't seem to knuckle down and really show a manager that he can be trusted throughout a long campaign without injuries as well? I'm really unsure about this one because he is such a gifted footballer. So to go off and basically accept a massive payday when he's only 30 years old seems a little bit disappointing. Anyway, for Rafa Benitez's side, he was complaining that because of financial fair play, they couldn't quite bring in the signings they wanted to in the summer. So using all the resources he's got, including the players he's already got, like James, would seem like a bit more of a sensible idea. Anyway, he leaves after 1 season having signed a free transfer from Real Madrid, and in all honesty though, 200k per week, that's pretty steep for Everton. Next up though, and to Napoli. Yeah, we don't really talk about Napoli too much on this channel, but they're causing a bit of a storm in Serie A at the moment. And last night, they joined an elite club as they became only the 3rd team in Italian league history to score in 30 consecutive games. They're on fire in front of goal, as Udinese found out last night, where they managed to bag 4 against Udinese away from home, and a stunning 4-0 victory means that they are now top of Serie A. It's 4 wins out of 4, it's 10 goals for, 2 against, with a goal difference of +8, 12 points like I mentioned. Things are looking pretty good for Napoli. Now, it's probably a little bit too early to talk about a potential title charge, and maybe they can take the title off Inter. But, I will say a big but, It has been proven last season that Juventus are not what they once were. Their dominance was ended by Inter Milan, and with their start to the season, maybe they won't even be in the title race themselves. But what Inter Milan did, aside from winning the title, was show to the rest of the clubs in Italy that if you put together a strong enough team and a good run of form, you can win something. And now Inter, without Antonio Conte, who left at the end of last season, without Romelu Lukaku, without Achraf Hakimi, despite the fact they've replaced them through the likes of Dzeko and Denzel Dumfries, who had a fantastic game at the weekend, which I mentioned yesterday in our shorts, there is still a possibility that Inter might not be as strong as last season. Of course, AC Milan are stronger than last season, but Napoli are well in the mix, and of course, don't rule out Jose Mourinho and Roma doing something as well. So maybe there is a little bit of hope for Napoli. Finally then, we come to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news that you might have missed. And Mohamed Ali Cho is the Angers youngster that Arsenal are interested in bringing to the Premier League. Next up, an Australian Jared Gillett is making history, as this weekend he'll become the first overseas referee to officiate a game in the Premier League. Next up, and Yves Bissouma has added fuel to the fire of his transfer talks, stating that his dream is to play Champions League football, and it looks a little unlikely with Brighton at the minute. And lastly but not least, if Paul Pogba is to leave Manchester United, apparently the club have identified the replacement in the form of AC Milan midfielder Franck Kessié. That's all from me then. Make sure you check out everything else we've got going on, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.